Well, that's what one of the next questions was going to be, how old can a battery be in this process work? Well, you kind of answered that right there.
Well, I guess at that point the failure mechanism is grid corrosion, which is as good as it gets.
Yeah, but with grid corrosion, as you mentioned earlier, you'd see the positives start coming right up through the car. They'd be blowing up like crazy. We still see that. I'm surprised with some of them. But the oldest battery that I have ever done was we did an experiment for an oil company 2 years ago on an offshore platform. And I did it because I wanted to go off an offshore platform. So I fly 500 miles out in the Gulf. It's fantastic. And I expected I was going to get there and the post was going to be coming right through the covers. They weren't. They were 15 years old. And it was a smaller battery, and I might have sent you some pictures, Dan. And it had 3 new cells in it. And the new cells were like, okay, here's their numbers. They were maybe 2 years old, the new cells, or 3 they put in. And they were smaller, so I think it was a 98, 9, 10, something like that, small one. And I got there, and they weren't. Well, this just doesn't look right. Because offshore oil platforms don't have real tight climate control.
Right.
Consider the fact that I could go over to the one corner in the vent, I could look down, I could see the water. So I guess, even though the room was air conditioned, that's a big hole. And so we did the process, and with everything, high rate charge. This was just last year, the year before, and I would defy anybody to see the after readings now and tell which was the new cells, because there are readings that recovered to as good, and that company happened to use resistance, the cell quarter. So we used that, and I also did Mohs from my own knowledge, but we wanted to compare our readings to the company that did their annual readings, and that was I would not have ever bet that I could have got that kind of recovery in a 15-year-old battery.
That is surprising.
Well, no, it surprised me, and I was going, because I was expecting something different, and we also found one cell, and it was critical that those vents be tight in there for it to work. Well, when they changed those cells, one of the cells, they put the vent back in, never tightened it, because when we go in, we have to take the vents out to inject the water. I grabbed it, and I go, oh, wait a minute. And that cell did not recover as good as the rest, but it had been there for 2 or 3 years, But it did recover. I mean, not as good, but
right.
So I think the sweet spot for this is 8 to 10 years, somewhere in that range. The sooner the better. I don't think anybody's battery now off gases where you need to do it. Whereas years ago, at 5 years, they were like bad. I don't think they do. I mean, in the normal environment. Now, if you want to cook something, we got a different. That's totally different, but.